rather than being like, oh, I want to learn HTML and CSS. Well, it's like, that's pretty fucking broad. Be bold, but also full of empathy. If you have an idea, just vomit.
That was a good answer.
Hey guys, so I'm coming to you today with a brand new type of video. I sat down and had a conversation with my friend Mikayla that I've known since high school. As she's wrapping up her final year at George Brown College for interaction design, she has begun building out her freelance business. She came to me with questions ranging from finance to dealing with horrible clients. So if you're someone that's looking at jumping in to the freelance world head first or building up what you currently have, I highly recommend watching this video. And with that, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm here with Mikayla and I'm gonna let her do a quick intro and give you a little bit of backstory about kind of where she is in business and as well, I guess, school and stuff. So I'll let you take it away and intro yourself.
Hi, my name's Mikayla, and I have known Zach since high school. He took the quick path to finding his passion in the creative business, and it took me a little bit longer. And that I really wanted to go into something a little bit more me, which ended up accidentally being interaction design and development at George Brown. So anyways, I'm in my last year of studies. What I'm really struggling with right now is the whole client onboarding, project management type things. And just I've been working really hard towards creating my own creative business, getting clients, all that kind of stuff. So last week I reached out to Zach just to get some advice, and I figure Zach probably is the closest person to me that has anything.
Yeah, and shoot some content, and hopefully there'll be some like little pieces that you can possibly apply relate to in your creative business and growing that. So. Okay, so I guess maybe right now it's probably the best to just jump into some questions you have and you can see where those take us. I think you have some notes.
Yeah. So, okay, so yeah, just starting off a little late. In all of your work, what's the thing you're most passionate about delivering to your clients through your work, and what is your reasoning behind that?
Okay, so I think the one thing that I'm really passionate about in terms of working with clients is the one reason why I think I've been able to grow so quickly, and it's that I'm really romantic about business, and I see myself as a business owner more than I see myself as a designer or anything like that. So what I think I like to deliver is 100% of like a lot of empathy towards the client, where it's like I understand how hard business is, and so if someone's working with me on their business, whether it's designing a process or a website or anything like that, I understand how hard that can be and how stressful it is. So if I can approach that situation with as much empathy as possible, the project's better, and I get a lot of fulfillment out of that, knowing that because that person worked with me instead of someone else, that whole process was easier for them, and would allow them to shift, their focus somewhere else. Or it's kind of like if someone hires me, I've got it covered. And so that's what I really enjoy delivering to clients. It's just like a lot of peace of mind, where in business you don't get that a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine like the communication is probably a little bit better too, right? Because then you can kind of see from both sides.
Yeah, so. No, I think that's the biggest thing, is just understanding that your client is really stressed out, and that's just the way it goes. And like you have to almost be there for them in a way that you completely just feel all of their stresses and try to like mitigate those as much as possible. So for me, it's like there's nothing, again, like I jump around with what I do in terms of like the actual tangible medium and stuff so much that there isn't anything specific along that process other than I really enjoy providing a client with, an end-to-end, easy, clean experience.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good answer. Second question. I came up with 10, by the way, so hopefully this is
quick 10 questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
What tools do you use to learn new skills, softwares, like business skills, all that kind of stuff, like mentors, all that?
Skills and software, I think your best bet is to create some sort of sample project or get some sort of client project where you need that skill and you just do it. And so
like no matter how long it takes.
No matter how long it takes, and so I think the best way to learn anything is just by doing it. And so along that way of figuring out how to do it, you're gonna come across like books or YouTube or anything like that. And whatever like path you decide to take and actually acquire that information doesn't really matter. I think what matters is that you give yourself a very tangible goal. Rather than being like, oh, I want to learn HTML and CSS. Well, it's like that's pretty fucking broad. Like you can go read a book, but that doesn't mean like at the end of the day you can know any skill, but if you can't execute on it, you're not going to get paid.
Theory versus practice.
Right. So I think the more you can focus on creating very practical challenges for yourself, the theory will come. Like you can't execute without the theory. So I think the biggest thing is just focus on the execution.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's so much content out there now that you can learn anything. So I don't think that the problem is acquiring of information. It's being able to take that information, absorb it, and then execute on it in a way that you can bill a client or something like that in the future.
Because I feel like in the past I've had to almost say no to things because if it's something that a client would need ASAP and I don't know how to do it, then I've kind of shied away from that.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, I guess it would have to be like more of a long-term project then in that case. Like if...
Or if short-term projects suck anyway, so it's like, it doesn't really, like that's whatever, but I think that you'd be surprised if you just keep saying yes, how much shit you'll figure out, because at that point, then you're putting yourself on the line. And I guess that comes down to how well you deal with stress and how quickly you know you can learn, but the more you put yourself into those situations where you're learning for yourself, you give yourself those challenges to learn something very, very quickly, the quicker that can happen and you can turn that over.
So the next, in the design industry, sorry, going back to that, not the business. Sorry. Who inspires you the most? Like who's the person that you look up to in the industry, if any?
Yeah, so that's actually kind of a hard question. So in the design industry, there's some people that are kind of just like, I look at them and they're like, oh gee, like Aaron Draplin is super cool, and I think that the reason why I like him is because he's business and like business minded in a very organic way, where he started field notes well, like, and he's also just like really good at making dope logos. Actually have a fun story. Like I actually met him in Vegas and played roulette with him. So that might be because why he's like my favorite now. It's like I always like followed him online, and then
I actually got
like that, and he was like a really cool guy. So shout out Aaron Draplin, you're super dope. That's the only person that can come to mind. Like I said, I identify way more as a business person who likes to design than a designer. So in terms of like idolizing design, I love certain things of design, but I don't think there's anybody I really follow. And I idolize them for their design. For me, that kind of piece of my life is centered around business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a piece from that is you can have mentors from every sector of anything, right? It's like, what is your favorite this? What is your favorite that? And if you can identify that, you can pull things from them. So it's like Aaron Draplin is a designer who does things in an organic way and is kind of like just like a design gangster, where he just like kind of does it. He just does it all, and he's dope, and so that would be much for that.
Okay, and drop that. In regards to your personal business, like your own brand and your creative business, what is your kind of process, if you can envelop it into like a short time, from concept to execution with a project?
For a client or for myself?
Let's go with yourself.
Okay, so if I'm going to do a new project for myself, whether it's I'm trying to offer a new service for the company,
or you're trying to revamp your brand like you just did, or
start at 8 p.m. and then work and then like at a cold, like I think the biggest thing is like so let's just say you have the idea that you want to do something at noon that day while you're having lunch. Finish your work for the day, and at 8 p.m. clear your schedule and work all the way through the night and get as much as I think that when ideas are fresh, that's when they're like the most valuable, and that's when you can get the most out of it. So, and that's not like, I don't think that's good to work through a project till it's done. But when the idea is fresh, get as much out of your body as possible and onto paper into like tangible things, and then go to bed, wake up the next morning, and see if it aligns with you, and then you can start breaking it down into like a Trello board or something of these things you need to do. But I think the biggest thing about going from concept to execution is that first 5% is where everybody gets stuck. It's where you're going to meet tons of people that say, oh, I want to do this, or I've been thinking about doing that.
And then they change their mind.
Or they find there's a million reasons to never do something. So in developing like personal projects and stuff like that, I think the biggest thing is start it as soon as possible and work really, really hard on the first 5% to get over that hump. Because once you get a direction, then it's just work. Then it's just labor. That's all the creative work's done. So it's like defining that vision as soon as possible. And breaking
So
it down.
execute concept and then just
As soon as possible. But like, is this something that's worth exploring? Because a lot of the times you finish it, you'll be like, oh, this isn't worth exploring. Whereas like, if you pondered on that idea for 5 days, you would have wasted 5 days of possible execution time on other ideas. So if you have an idea, if you have an idea, just vomit.
This is good to know because I'm literally trying to do that right now. So
if you have an idea, vomit as much as possible.
Okay.
Just purge and then see if it's something that's worth exploring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 5. Oh, we're halfway done. When is it important to set yourself up with a business account, and why is it useful beyond keeping books?
Like a business bank account.
Yeah, like to track your...
Yeah. So I think the minute you register yourself as a sole proprietorship or a small business, get a business account. One, it's clean. So it creates doing your taxes and stuff very, very easily. And then 2, I look at these decisions in one light, like crossing. It's like where it's like, oh, when is the time for like the next step of like, oh, should I have like a business email address or a business whatever? And the way I look at those things is look at yourself, whatever it is, like wherever you see yourself as being successful in 5 months or 6 months or a year, would that person have these things in place? And so if you're looking to be doing, if it's just say you're doing $50,000 in sales per year and you want to get to $100,000 in sales per year, if someone that's doing $100,000 in sales would have a business account, then you should have a business account, because the only person that can accomplish that goal is the person who is that person, right? So you kind of have to become that person before you can accomplish these things. Whereas I think a lot of people get caught up in being like, oh, I'll get that set up when I'm at that point.
Yeah.
But the only
like
way to,
when I'm making that
when
much.
or have this many clients. But the only way to get to that point where you're having that many clients is to do these small little things that future person would have done. So it's all a step in the process. So if you have the time to do it and you have the time to build up more business infrastructure that makes your life easier, you should just do it, because it opens you up for growth and it primes you, rather than getting stuck at the end of the year and you have to spend a month figuring out your taxes because it's going in and out of your personal account with your friend e-transferring you money for drinks and stuff. Like, so if you see yourself as being successful in the future, then you should be doing all those things that the successful person in the future would be doing.
Yeah.
So just
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was kind of like in fear of it a little bit almost.
Because you're scared of success?
No.
Okay.
Just because I don't know, maybe it was scared to take that like big step where it's like, this is like really happening.
Yeah, it's
so
committing
like maybe
to
it's
it.
like a personal,
it's a personal commitment where it's like, if you open up this business account, that means that if the business fails, that account is still going to exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So no.
I don't plan on it failing. But like,
no, but I think no, it's 100%. It's just it's sweet train.
It's just a fear you have.
It's just it's just a fear, and the more you eliminate those things, again, you get out of your way for success. Like now, if you set that up, there's one less thing that you're gonna have to do once you're getting all that work and you have less time. So if you have time to do something, just do it now.
Next, I'm kind of like jumping into the whole client thing. So clients, how do you go about onboarding them, and how do you deal with the difficult ones? You already kind of answered that with the empathy thing, but
that doesn't mean anything. There's still shitty clients.
All of the crappy ones.
Yeah, and okay, so there's crappy clients. There always will be. No matter how good you get, you're still gonna have crappy clients. The only difference is you have a choice on whether you want to work with them or not.
How do you deal with
Okay, so from the beginning, onboarding client, the biggest thing is staying organized. So having an onboarding document for every service you offer is very valuable, and it also allows, when you do certain things like that, like have a branded onboarding document that's very clean, has all your updated branding on it, all that kind of stuff, it increases the value of your service. So it's like, I always like to relate creative business to real business, and it's like, well, you can go and like buy, some shoes from a department store and they'll have like a ratty box and you're gonna have so see value with that. But then you can go to like a really nice shoe store and get like a beautiful box where they're wrapped and like their stuff.
And a nice bag.
Right. You should be striving to, even if your quality of work isn't there, you should be striving to package it in a way that makes the client feel valued. And so right off the bat, if you send them that, they're going to be happy that they sent you that 50% deposit.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't want to do is like someone sends you money and then you send them like some crappy Word document where now they're like, wait, what am I paying for?
Mm-hmm.
So increasing, I think the biggest thing with onboarding is increase your like product value as much as possible. Get as much information out of the client as possible about what they're wanting, because everyone's going to change their mind. And so, but if you can refer back to the onboarding document, then you can bring up revision costs and all that kind of stuff in a lot easier of a way. But if you do all of that, you're still going to get horrible clients. It's not their fault, right? Especially when you're dealing with like small businesses.
Yeah, because they don't really understand.
They don't understand how to work in that situation, and you can't. It's not like you can coach them through it. No. But I mean, be bold, but also full of empathy, right? Like you don't want to be a pushover, but you don't want to be an asshole. So I think the best word to describe, I think the way, and sometimes I'm an asshole, right? And sometimes I'm a pushover, but I think the best place to be is like, if you're thinking about like an encompassing word of the way people should feel about you, is bold. So if something's wrong, tell them. But if they say, oh, I want it this way, then just do it, because at the end of the day, they're paying you. And the trade-off there is that if you don't want to do it, then don't get paid. Yeah. And so that's the trade-off. And I think that the biggest thing with creative people is like, oh, I want to do what I want to do and still get, but it's like, well, no, then you have to do your.
Always gonna be something you don't want.
There's always gonna be something you want to do. It's like, unless you can do your own projects and publish your own books or like publish your own like whatever, like then you can do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna work in a client-based, business, it's either you decide to get paid, or you decide to or you decide to do what you want to do, which is not getting paid. So, clients suck, but the more you can increase the value and again approach everything with empathy, I think the better you're gonna do.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey guys, thanks for watching part 1 of this interview. If you want to be notified when part 2 is released, make sure you subscribe down below. And if this video was valuable to you, please either share it with someone or let me know down in the comments. Have a good one.